Hey, Armand here with your astrology forecast for the week of November 16th, 2020. We're coming right out of the new moon. We're coming right out of the new moon, beginning this week with a fresh start, kinda, and it's an active week. The usual story on the new moon is that it's a slow start if all things are being equal. You've got a few days of a slow start if all things are equal. And as usual, all things are not equal. So we kind of get off to a bit of a fast start this week. The moon leaves Scorpio and goes into Sagittarius for Monday. And that's a nice upbeat kind of energy. You got to sort of like that, I think. And the real spark, though, at the beginning of the week on Monday is that Mercury is opposite Uranus. This is the third time that Mercury has been opposite Uranus in a couple of months. And it's a good time to express ideas that have been brewing, things that have been maybe kind of on the back burner. And so it's only a day after the new moon, but it's kind of a good time to get moving with that sort of thing. So if you've got an idea to express, if you have something to say, this is a good time to say it. As we go through the week, generally productive energies. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have the moon in Capricorn. Be meeting with all those Capricorn planets. Very serious business. But also, too, I wouldn't say that you're really ready to, jump and go, but it's a very productive kind of energy. It's a good building sort of energy. We have the sun is going to be sextile to Saturn, and that's going to help a lot. So it is a constructive period of time. It is a time maybe not to like completely like launch a new project, but it's a good time to do the preliminary work for it. And maybe if you're going to have to launch something, it's not a bad time for it. It's just a little bit slow coming out of the new moon. It's right around that time though that you'd want to get something on the ground. You'd want to get something cooking. So take concrete steps. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, particularly Wednesday, take some real concrete steps. It doesn't have to be the gigantic, big, production, but it should be something that has some real physical, earthed kind of thing. Don't just think about it. It's fine. Early on, Sunday the 15th, Monday the 16th, you can light a candle and set your intentions, that type of thing. But when it comes to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, do some concrete action. Take some actual concrete steps, even if you can go out and buy some pencils or something like that. You're doing something that is real. Maybe do something a little bit more than that, though. Okay. Also, on in this period of time, this Capricornian period of time, we have Venus square to Saturn. Venus is in our home sign of Libra, getting ready to pack up for Scorpio, and Saturn is in his home sign of Capricorn. They actually, to tell you the truth, in these signs at least, these two planets get along pretty well. There's a sense of formality. There's a sense of decorum. There's a sense of sort of following the rules, minding your manners. We don't have a lot of social stuff going on. I think we're going to have less and less social stuff going on. Maybe that's the Venus square Saturn. Maybe it is actually shutting down some socialization. That sounds very Venus square Saturn. So in terms of social stuff, it may not be excellent. But if you put a little bit of a formal vibe to things, it's probably better. It would be a reasonable time to get something appraised or to have some sort of business agreement. However, you should really be careful, especially the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday coming into this energy. you know there's some bargaining and negotiation going on here. It's not like you could really accept things as they are. You've got to do a little bit of bargaining and negotiating to kind of get what you want. Friday, the moon goes into Aquarius, and the moon is not going to be active in Aquarius for very long, but it will heat up that Uranus Mercury opposition that began the week, and so it's a good time. It's a very good time. Friday is a very good time to communicate ideas, to share the larger vision. The moon's last aspect is going to be a sextile to Mars, who's now gone direct. So this is a good day to put things out there. If you do the prep work at midweek and then Friday you kind of put the announcement out there. Saturday, the moon will be void, of course, virtually the entire day. All right, so depending upon whatever else is going on, you're gonna take a little bit of a break on Saturday. You can continue with things that are already underway, but that initiation energy, and we're right before the first quarter moon, so there is initiation energy, but the moon is void. So I would think a void Aquarius moon is something that you would probably want to just you know just hang out online, or do whatever you do these days that is sociable, but keep expectations kind of low. There are things happening though on Saturday. The first thing is that Venus goes into Scorpio, and that kind of sends a little bit of a different message in terms of socializing, in terms of romance, and also in terms of business. It puts a more protective, a closer sort of feel to things. It's not as, in Libra, Venus was a little bit more formal but gracious. In Scorpio, it's a little bit more down to the bare bones type of thing. We'll have a couple of weeks of that, and it's not a bad thing. Again, during the midst of pandemic, who knows? Um, I think though that there's caution. Venus in Scorpio puts up the caution flags. Even though Mars has gone direct and some things are moving, if it's deep and truthful, whatever you're into, if it's deep and truthful, it's good. But if it's surface stuff, is not going to fly. The other thing that happens on Saturday is that the sun goes into Sagittarius. And that's a good feeling, I think. I mean, no offense to any other sign, but the sun going into a fire sign is a good thing for the sun. Those of us who have a lot of investment in the sun will appreciate it. When the sun leaves Leo, goes into Virgo, it's kind of a diminishing sign, and then goes into Libra, where he winds up below the horizon most of the time, and then goes through Scorpio. These, which is square to Leo. This is harder energies. Harder. I'm a Leo, so maybe I'm projecting here just a lot. But going into Sagittarius, it's another fire sign, and I feel that it kind of resonates better with the sun than anything's been in the last 3 months. And the feeling there is, you know what it's like? It's like when you're playing tag, and you can get tagged, and then you get to base, and when you're on base, you can't get tagged. That's sort of like with the sun going into Sagittarius. It's like getting to base. It's like, okay, we got a little bit of a breather room over here. It's an interesting thing. The fire signs, Leo makes a lot of sense because it's the sun is up in the sky. In the northern hemisphere it's summer. Aries, the fire sign, it's when the sun gets above the horizon for most of the day, so that makes a lot of sense as a fire sign. Sagittarius actually brings us into the darkest time of the year, and it's not really a wonderful time for the sun. And there's a little bit of a lesson there because it's Jupiter's sign. And Jupiter is a very bright planet. He keeps that beacon of light going in the darkness. And when it's very dark, the sun is not really able to do much. There's Jupiter out there shining. And so it really does bring us more towards faith. And I think that that's a really terrific lesson for us. It's the dark time of the year, but we do have some light in the darkness, and that's something that we can really appreciate. Um, it's also, I think, it's a time that lends itself towards, because there is, it's a little bit of an inside time for most of us. It is a time that sort of pulls us towards those Sagittarian activities. I always get the urge to do some real, sort of a big philosophical kind of project or something like that when the sun is in Sagittarius. It's always like I'll reread the Divine Comedy, or I'll finally tackle the Mahabharata or something like that. Um, uh, None of that ever happens. Well, once in a while it happens, but not too often. But there's this kind of exploration, exploring things on like maybe like more intellectual, spiritual level. It is fostered by Sagittarius, and we do take advantage of that. For those of you who are Saggies, happy birthday coming. It's going to be here pretty soon, and I think that you guys are going to have a better year as in December Jupiter gets into Aquarius. That's going to be better than having the ruler of Sagittarius and Capricorn. So that should be better for you guys. I truly hope that is better year for all of us, whether that's Jupiter in Sag or Saturn in Jupiter in Aquarius or Saturn in Aquarius or anything else. I'm wide open at this point. I'll take it. Um, so that's the energy that is going to end up the week there. The moon goes into Pisces, and we have the first quarter moon right away, late on Saturday, early Sunday morning. And I would say that Sunday's energy, it's kind of flowing, and as we get into next week, it'll be a more active time. One last, well, I would say more active than this week. It'll be more active than Saturday, though. So Sunday, Monday, you get a little bit more of a push there. I haven't really looked at next Monday's astrology yet. Well, I know. Anyway, um, the other thing is that we are coming out of the Scorpio new moon, and the sun is in Sag, and you know what else is in Sag is the south node of the moon, which means that we are approaching an eclipse. And the first eclipse we're going to have is at the end of November, and it's going to be a lunar eclipse, and then it's going to be followed 2 weeks later by a solar eclipse. That means that we have a subtle feeling of the eclipses starting to build this week, and it's going to grow. It's not necessarily too obvious as we start the week, or even necessarily as we end it, but it'll be there. One of the things that happens with eclipses is that things get magnified. Things are emotionally magnified when we have eclipses. The message there is it's telling us what's important. Pay attention to this. But it's like looking through a fisheye mirror. Things are really kind of distorted and expanded a little bit. So that, yes, you need to be concerned about this, but no, you don't need to be panicked about it. So keep in mind if you start feeling a little anxious and edgy as the week goes on about something. Yeah, it's something to be paid attention to. It's something to be dealt with. It isn't necessarily quite the crisis that you think it is, if you think it's a crisis. Now, when we get to the end of November, we have the full moon eclipse at the same time that we have a Neptune station. And that's going to be harder to handle. But we're not talking about that this week. I'll see you next time.